All right. David, say it with me now. You ready? Say it with me.
All right.
Fans aren't sources.
Fans aren't sources.
Thank you. That's it. Okay, just want to make sure. Huh? Oh, that's where David gets all his info from? Oh, I'm sorry. I gave away your sources.
I mean, there might be people in the building who would be fans of the team doing well, but
Right. Yes. And there's plenty of fans outside of the team wanting to do well, and then they just want to say, yeah, I know something. No, you don't know anything. And so, yeah, just leave it to the people that actually know people and actually go cover it. And, maybe that might be, the better option for you, overall. But anyway, so talk to me. What'd you notice from practice today? HN, Waller out. Why? What's going on
with HN and Waller?
No, I'm good with HN. I mean,
okay.
That's fine. I can understand that. What's the deal with? Okay, so you didn't want to start him in a scrimmage, but yet you had the beginning of camp without pads, and you had him signed, and you didn't start him then. So now here comes the fresh week. Yet Thursday you have a scrimmage. But, okay, you got a day today where it's a walkthrough pretty much. And no Darren Waller. So, this is why I completely call it bullshit and lies from the Dolphins head coach. Because if you were actually legitimate about it, he would have been out there on the field today. I don't understand that one. Please explain to me. Please bring common sense to it.
Yeah, I don't know how much to read into him not participating in a walkthrough. It's not like that would challenge him physically regardless. So I really don't take much from it being like some kind of testament that he's not even ready to do a walkthrough. I would think, he's done more. We've seen him running and such, so it's not like, okay, he can't handle a walkthrough. Yeah, this is a week where, it really starts to get pressing. Just if you haven't seen him yet. And Mike McDaniel opened the door now, finally, that this could be a time. But now at this point, okay, you already didn't have him for this Tuesday walkthrough. You're going to have one more session on Wednesday before then you have your joint practice with the Jaguars on Thursday, consistent with what you've previously said about not bringing him back to a joint practice against the Lions or the Bears. Then you wouldn't do it then. So is it tomorrow when he comes back? And if not, I feel like you could still just – that Thursday when it's a joint practice with the Jaguars, you have him just do the individual stuff with the Dolphins before you start going against Jaguar defenders. I agree you don't, especially if it's his second practice. Let's say they do bring him back tomorrow, and Thursday is his second practice. I agree that I do not want to see him going in pads against Jaguars who are trying to hit him and wouldn't care for his well-being. So I feel like at that point, if you do bring him back, just have him do the workouts, indie stuff, positional drills when it's just the Dolphins, him with his tight ends, and then go ahead and let the others who have been around do the actual work, one-on-ones and 7-on-7 and 11-on-11 against the Jaguars. So that's how I would go about it. But you really start to get worried if you still make it through this week and the whole preseason is gone and you still haven't seen him practice.
Dude, I'm watching. Can you put an IG video up on the screen there to share it with us? Can you do that, Sean? Look, let me show you. First of all, this is the reel I'm talking about right there on Darren Waller. This is June 11th. Okay. Yeah, just go to Darren Waller's IG. Just put Darren Waller. It'll come up. But it's crazy. I doubt you can see it here. I don't know if you can, but on his IG, this is June 11th. This is June 11th, and this high rocks, whatever thing that he's doing. Give me a break, dude. I wasn't born yesterday, man. I'm sorry. Everything you're telling me is an absolute lie. Everything you're telling me is an absolute lie. That guy was doing shit that was way more rigorous than anything they did today. Anything they did today. Anything they did in the first week of practice when they were out there just, screwing around without pads. It's really weird. I'd really like to know what the hell is going on. What are they waiting for? You know what I'm saying? Are they trying to make it like a secret weapon or something? Is he practicing behind the scenes like crazy and we just don't know it or something? You know what I'm saying? It's just like, what the hell is going on?
I mean, a lot of the stuff that he does is indoors too, when the practice is outdoors. So you never know behind those closed doors what more he could be doing that he's not showing outside. And then obviously you're more constricted as far as just facilities you have open when you're on the road. Chicago, Lake Forest, Illinois, Island Park, Michigan, where the Bears and Lions practice. Those play now you're using another team's facility, so it's not like you have access to the whole building like you would in Miami Gardens. So yeah, that's why maybe those weeks it was just like, all right, now we just set them off to the side. Nothing doing over here, but yeah, I mean, you start to worry, and then you really start to think, all right, definitely, if not this week, then just leave them on PUP for the first 4 weeks, which now Drew Rosenhaus has said every single time he's on WSVN, he's going to be ready for the opener. Mike McDaniel saying that this is a week they reassess and go look into it. It still hasn't happened, but it becomes a real possibility to just leave him on PUP, miss the first 4 weeks if now you got to rush him into football preparedness through actual practice when he's already missed all the camp.
All right, so everybody has an opinion. Everybody's trying to figure it out. What does David Furones, Miami Dolphins beat writer, say about the Matthew Judon signing? Why did the Miami Dolphins sign Matthew Judon? What's your opinion?
It's a true testament to you can never have enough pass rushers. And I know everyone's pounding the table that we need cornerbacks over here in Miami. The Dolphins need to add corners, and they do. Let's make no mistake about it. But this is also money that the Dolphins, remember, were willing to send to Joey Bosa early in free agency. So back then, they still, same way, they had the big three of Jalen Phillips, Bradley Chubb, and Chop Robinson. In fact, actually it was right before that, I believe. I'm trying to remember the timeline when Bradley Chubb had his deal restructured. So opening up some more money as far as what you're already paying pass rushers. But it could make for some interesting packages. You already know, listen, two of these guys are coming back from season-ending deals, serious knee injuries. So you don't want a situation where you have another injury scare to one of them, and now you're really short on pass rushers all of a sudden. So depth is welcome up front with the edge rushers. Minka Fitzpatrick said as much today, like, hey, bring as many as you can because we appreciate them back there when guys are getting after the passer up front.
It's Melvin Ingram all over again. You don't want to go with all the young guys as much as we may like what we see from McClendon or whatever we see from any of the guys right now. You still have never put them in an in-game situation, regular season for 4 months, and you've got to count on them, and you don't know if you can. And so I totally understand why you would. My opinion is two ways, and I'm going to stick to my guns on this. I've told you that if things don't go well, if somehow or another Mike McDaniel doesn't really get the max out of this, then by the trading deadline, you're going to have an opportunity to trade Tyreek. Well, guess what? You're also going to have an opportunity to trade Chubb because you probably will part ways with Chubb at the end of the year anyways. And you're going to move on with Chop and Phillips, especially if Phillips stays healthy all year. Then you start to, okay, well, now he's kind of overcoming all that. All right, let's go. Let's move forward and all that. So you'll probably move forward with those two guys anyway. So this will be your chance to unload. And if you do unload, well, then will you have a pass rusher there that will be part of the rotation? That could be Matthew Judon for you. And then the other thing is you are bringing Phillips back from an injury. You are bringing Chubb back from an injury. You don't want to overload either guy. That's why you also need Matthew Judon because he is proven what the other guys are not. None of those guys are proven. Cam Good is not proven. None of them are proven. It doesn't matter how much we may like Grayson Murphy. He is not proven. And by the way, he's also coming back from a knee injury and not proven. So I totally understand the Matthew Judon one because it helps you to not overload your two main guys that are coming back from injury, and it also protects you just in case you do trade Chubb in the trading deadline. If you're not making a playoff run or anything like that, and you want to move Chubb for whatever pick, now you've got Matthew Judon to be in the rotation with Phillips and Chop, and then one of those young guys that you hope that you're trying to groom or whatever. So for me, that's the way I think Judon helps you now and could possibly help you if you do trade somebody in the trading deadline.
Yeah, and think about like how the previous year the team had hopes of Shaq Barrett being part of that pass rushing group, to add to all these same guys. Granted, Chubb,
Great call.
We never saw him in 2024. Jalen Phillips, he turned out to be ready for the start, injured again, this time with his knee coming off the Achilles. Yeah, I mean, Mike McDaniel has said this is his favorite position, actually favorite position. He's an offensive-minded coach, has an offensive background, but the edge rusher position defensively is his favorite in all of football. And Anthony Weaver, as a former defensive end, he's going to appreciate pass rushers and having as many as he can. They actually never crossed paths in Baltimore. I was just looking at that as I asked Weaver about Judon today, and Weaver had just gotten there when Judon had moved from Baltimore to New England. But I'm sure he had heard a lot about him in that building from being around the Ravens as well. So, and hey, when you look at those other outside linebackers afterwards, unproven, but I think you're looking a lot at the special teams contributions that Quentin Bell, Cameron Good make, because those are core special teamers. And the new coordinator, Craig Ackerman, he's going to have a lot of say in those final outside linebacker jobs that are there on the roster, including, hey, Grayson Murphy has been used a lot on special teams, a little bit more than Derek McClendon, but the team is trying to see what they got in him there. So, spots at the end of the roster, that's special teams where really they get earned more so than how much they can produce at whatever position they play, offense, defense. In this case, we're talking about edge rushers.
No Ingold, no Kamara. Now, are any of the injuries should anybody be concerned? I know they haven't shown any concern but they don't have to be open with us, but with Tyreek, with Jalen Phillips, like some people are kind of concerned, like, okay, well, these guys aren't practicing either. And, without those guys, you really don't stand a chance. So what's going on with some of those other injuries? Do you think any of those are serious?
I don't think so, because Mike McDaniel put them in the category of minor injuries that even this is going back to the Bears preseason game when they did play starters. And he said a lot of those were under the category between Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, who then quickly returned to practice, and Jalen Phillips, that they'd possibly play in a regular season game, but not going to go send them out in a preseason game, even if you are sending out your starters out there. Jalen Phillips, I can tell you, I saw him doing some ladder drills on the field at Ford Field before Saturday's exhibition. Did some running. Same as Chubb, who doesn't have currently an injury that we know about, but just the fact that they both got their workouts in. If you compare the two, and Tyreek Hill coming back from the oblique. It seemed like he was close for some of those Detroit joint practices, like that he wanted to go out there, but the team was holding him off. So I would imagine it's not anything that in a couple of weeks' time is going to keep him off the field week one.
You made a good point a couple of weeks ago where you said that McDaniel normally just plays Tua once in the preseason. So he played him once, and he didn't play him this week. And you almost have a hard time believing you're going to play a lot of people in week 3 when you're that much closer to the regular season. Do you stand by that? Do you think we're not going to see Tua and the first teamers this week? Maybe some of the offensive linemen, but like the main dudes, whether it's Tua, Tyreek, Waddle, it looks like they're going to be off again this week.
Yeah, I think the only benefit would be is if Tyreek Hill were so good to go that you're just really not worried about him going one drive, because then Tua could get some work with Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle in a game-like environment. But I don't know if you'd be willing to send Tyreek Hill if he's dealing with an oblique that's keeping him off the practice field to go send him out a couple weeks before the season. So I wouldn't even think that's even enough of a benefit to go and do that. And Tua
Waller's more important. Waller's more important. He's already played with Tyreek and Waddle. I'm not worried about that like anybody else is. I'd rather have them, healthy. I'd rather get the offensive line play because obviously, especially that young left side, those guys need as many reps as possible. I'd rather like this past week, the Icon kid. I guess because Tua's not playing, they don't play him, but I don't see enough from him. I don't see enough from Waller. These are the kind of guys that I think that I would like in game-like situations with Tua. But you're not going to risk Tua, so then you shelve these guys. Well, I mean, Waller doesn't even practice as it is. But the Icon kid, I had that one made no sense to me. I mean, by the way, why would you even rest Julian Hill? What kind of stupid shit is that, dude? If he's not injured, Julian Hill needs a crap ton of playing time, dude. He still doesn't prove that he can't make mistakes. I mean, the guy, that's mostly what he does is make mistakes. There's some things that this guy does that just baffle me sometimes.
It was very interesting. Those were some of the noteworthy ones to me who did not play. Was one, I mean, Nick Westbrook-Ikhine, and then also Malik Washington. Now, he got some work with Tua in Chicago, looked good there. You know what you got in him.
I'm all right with Malik. I'm all right with Malik.
Yeah,
I'm all right.
But yeah, no, I mean, NWI is also an established player who he had a boatload of touchdowns last year. So
yes.
I guess they feel comfortable enough, even though you haven't really maybe seen so many highlights from him throughout training camp. Coaches feel comfortable enough. Julian Hill was one that's a little bit perplexing, but interesting that he's in that category. And Farrell Brown, more of a veteran player at tight end, similar blocking, inline blocker, that he goes out there and plays in the preseason, even though he has so much more game experience under his belt as it relates to comparing him to Julian Hill. And Mike Hilton was another one as well. The defensive coaches, Anthony Weaver, feel very comfortable with what they already know him to be from his time in the league. So as the cornerbacks were playing, as that was really the only position group where starters were going out there, because you kind of need to find out who your starters are by having them compete in a game-like setting. Mike Hilton seems to be golden as that nickel corner now that Kader Kohu is done and was given the day off Saturday in Detroit.
All right. The other thing, the tight ends. How do you view the tight ends? Because I don't know what the hell they have. I mean, Julian Hill hasn't shown me that he's turned the corner. Tanner Conner actually hasn't been too bad, to be quite honest, considering he's done nothing. He's actually done something. And then you see no Waller whatsoever. How do you read into the Dolphin tight ends? Or can you?
Can you? It's a pretty good question. I mean, I think Julian Hill, we know who he is as far as he's viewed as that blocking tight end, and maybe can add some of the pass catching elements into his game. We've seen it in small spurts, but not too much. So you hope he can build, and I think he's been better about the penalties. We saw it second half of last year, and hasn't reared its head too much since. Farrell Brown, you know him. He's a solid blocker, veteran. It's not like he's going to go light it
up.
What was that?
I'm sorry. Jag.
Yeah. Hey, they're playing the Jags. So.
And he's a Jag. That's what Farrell Brown is. Just a guy.
Guy. And now Tanner Conner is interesting, I think, because he had an efficient game catching the football against Detroit. I think in the event where they assess Darren Waller this week and they're like, no, we'll just keep him on PUP and let him go the first 4 weeks, then that's the spot that I think Tanner Conner gets as the pass catcher at tight end. that you can make sure you carve out a roster spot for in the event where Waller isn't going. But it was very telling a couple of weeks ago. Waller hasn't even practiced, and the Dolphins were listing him tight end one while he's on PUP. Hasn't even had one practice with the team that he participates in. So
it shows it shows what they think of the other guys. I mean, a guy has a guy that's not even reliable. Okay. I mean, they are relying on the unreliable. That's really, really tough. This guy can't be relied on by his wife or his football team or his rapping career. So I'm not exactly sure what they're doing. All right, wide receivers. Hill, Waddle, Washington, and Icahn locks. Done. History in the archives. They're in. Who's the other two?
All right, yeah. All right, so it gets a little tough because D. Eskridge has done so much this preseason and can help in the return game. He can be that second returner behind Malik. Taj Washington has made plays. And then you also got the Theo Weiss kid that if you let him go, if you leave him out there, then someone will I would predict someone snags him as a wide receiver they stash. So it's a tough one.
No fence straddling on this show. Give me two.
Yeah, I got to give you two. I'm going to go. All right.
Remember your head coach here. I'll make it easy for you. Remember your head coach. He sucks at using big wide receivers. Okay, go ahead now. Make your choice.
So you're booting Theo Weiss off there.
Yeah, he's a practice squad guy at best right now, is what he is. That's it.
Yeah.
He's a practice squad because the coach is not going to keep him. But that's just me. I mean, bro, he didn't even use him. You just signed them and you barely have used them. I mean, it's not like I ever hear you guys writing, oh, wow, Nick was showcased today. And no, not at all. It's like they barely talk him. He barely gets the ball. Do we even know if he's on the team? Is it just he's here in spirit? I'm not exactly sure. And he also sucks at getting, big receivers involved. So you're going to add a second big receiver onto the team? No, I don't think so. So I'm going to have Wheezy on the practice squad. Wheezy. And maybe one day, they can move on up like the Jeffersons and get to the roster. But for now, I'm going to move them down to the practice squad. So Wheezy goes to the practice squad. You didn't pick up on that because it's the Jeffersons. The Jeffersons, the wife name is Wheezy. But go ahead.
Right. Or Lil Wayne is also Wheezy. Lil Wheezy. So there's another one. Yeah, I mean, and you know what? Before this preseason game against Detroit, I kind of had it as, all right, yeah, Theo Weiss would be the guy out because he made plays OTAs and mini camp and then maybe a little bit early in training camp, but that would be working with Quinn Ewers, so that's third team stuff. But yeah, I hadn't seen him much over quite a stretch there, and then finally, then he reemerged in a big way in that preseason game. So I felt that kind of like immersed him back into that competition. But I would say consistently over the consistency of camp, you got to go with Taj and you got to go with D. Eskridge as well. Now, Taj is just so impressive.
And by the way, Azukama's been here and they struggle even when he's even healthy. They struggle to get him involved. I don't know what it is. McDaniel likes receivers that are closer to his height or something. Not exactly sure, but he just doesn't work well with big receivers, which is the weirdest thing because when you have a short quarterback, the best thing to do is get him big weapons. That's what a lot of teams used to do. Minnesota one year, the Vikings, Dante Culpepper didn't have great accuracy. So they did a marvelous job, and they put Randy Moss, Chris Carter, Jake Reed, and then at tight end, they put some guy named Jim Kleinsasser. And they were all wide range players. So Culpepper didn't have to be accurate. He just had to put it in the vicinity, and all those guys could bring it in. And that's understanding who your talent is and then complement him with players that will make him better. And as you saw, once you took Culpepper out of that element, he was never the same quarterback again because who the hell has a receiving core like that? It just doesn't happen much that you have guys like that have range like a condor and stuff. It's just, it's out of control. So, that these are the things that you want to do. And for a guy like Tua, you'd like to give him people that have range. I still remember that play against the Ravens in the end zone, high up by the goalpost, and who's up there in the air snatching it down? Mike Gesicki.
Yeah.
These are the things. We throw fades to Oompa Loompas. And these are things that just, I want to punch you in the face when you run a play like that.
Which is also why this is why Theo Weiss was brought on, is to be a candidate for a role like that. He would be the backup of that role to NWI. But no, I kind of do agree with you, because we haven't seen him up there with the elevated groups either, as far as just really getting to work with Tua or getting to work with not even much of Zach Wilson. So that's why you see him go in there with Quinn Ewers. So possibly that's a practice squad stash. And then if you do have an injury, then he could be one of those guys that you elevate and incorporate into the game plan. But yeah, I do worry if there's a team out there that really needs a wide receiver prospect, he's a candidate for sure with what he's shown.
So what's the final two?
Oh yeah, Taj and D. Eskridge.
I'm with you there. That's exactly who I picked also. D. Eskridge and Taj Washington. Yeah. I love what I've seen from Taj Washington, dude. I think he's actually turning into a pretty nice little player there, man. He might be a guy that could really give one of these guys a rest down the, later on in the year. And in a game that maybe you're leading comfortably or you're trailing, unfortunately, or something, and he can help you out and give your guys some rest, or somebody gets banged up or something. I like what I'm seeing from Taj, man. So that'll be interesting. I just don't think that Theo will be kept, because it's just a history, dude. It's just not a good history, unfortunately. All right, what else you got going on the Sentinel so folks can check you out?
Yeah, I've got stories up at sunsentinel.com on the Dolphins page on Anthony Weaver breaking down the Matthew Judon edition, and some other thoughts from him on the defense. Got Frank Smith talking about Darren Waller, that he's trusting him to get in there quickly if called upon. The punter competition, we got it finally settled. It's Jake Bailey. So that news, as Jake Bailey wins the all-important punter competition over Ryan Stonehouse here, 2 preseason games in with 1 remaining.
Yes. Got it done. All right. Follow him on Twitter at David Furones _ and catch his work there. Better yet, subscribe to the South Florida Sun Sentinel. David, as always, thank you, my brother. We will catch up later on in the week, my friend. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
You got it. There you go. And, of course, Welt and Rheaume. Reach out to our guys, Jeff Welt and Daniel Rheaume. They are kicking some serious ass, and they have helped so many of our listeners over the last 5+ years. 954-966-4646. We're in storm season right now, so it could be a torrential downpour. It could be just a thunderstorm that goes by. Starting at 40 miles an hour, that can start to create some damage to your roof. So if you're seeing any brown spots or anything like that, it doesn't have to be a hurricane, man. Please call Welt and Rheaume. We can get that roof fixed for you. If you have a case, call them. The consultation is completely free. They will send their adjusters. And by the way, if anything ever happens to you, never call the insurance companies. You call Jeff Welt and Daniel Rheaume first. They have their own adjusters. They send their adjusters. They assess the real damage, and then they attack the insurance company and they take them on. But if you call the insurance company, then the insurance company is going to send their adjusters, and their adjusters work for the insurance company. They know all the loopholes in the laws that we don't, folks. 954-966-4646. Let professionals decide your fate. You and I, we are dead in the water taking on those insurance companies. Call Jeff Welt and Daniel Rheaume. 954-966-4646.